Good morning, friends. Today is Sunday. Let's meet together again for this Juniper SRX firewalls. Guess more people are there today. I see some participants around 5, 6 are there. Anyway, thanks for joining for this Juniper firewall demonstrations. As usual, I'll be giving you some demonstration at the end of these particular sessions. Guys, can hear me? Can you please tell me that? Can you please confirm me? You can hear me. You can see my screen. Hello. Can you hear me? Please unmute your mic and speak. No. No speech.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So today we are going to talk about the Juniper virtual SRX firewall. Virtual SRX is nothing but like that. We will be installing this in the virtual machines. We can install this in the cloud services also. All the three clouds, Juniper has been supporting that. We can install it as a virtual machine over there in the clouds also, as well as we can install the VMware workstation on the on-premises as well. So Juniper has got appliances also. We can buy the appliance and we can install it as normally we do it for all the firewalls as such. But because of the nowadays the entire scenario has been changed because of that we are installing everything on on-premise, not on premises, on cloud platforms only. So this version of the firewalls also available. Earlier we seen the Checkpoint, Palo Alto, Cisco ASA, all are available on a virtual platform also. So we have in Juniper also we have it on this. Juniper, everyone knows that it has been there for last quite 40 years. I guess it's more than that. And they are very good in the higher end routers models. And they've been producing the firewalls also. So SRX firewalls, we have so many, like the model numbers are there. We will be seeing that in the next coming slides. SRX firewalls, in the sense, it's normally a firewall again, and it will be doing all the other firewalls, whatever they are doing, it's going to do that same thing like. So means like URL filtering, application identifications, layer 4 to layer 7 filtering, and a normal port forwarding and access list blocking and permitting. Like all the stateful firewall and stateless firewalls, and it can detect the the new malwares and ransomwares and other normal stuff like whatever we are facing in the day-to-day life in the IT industry. Those are all being done by this nowadays. Every company has been started doing like machine learnings and artificial intelligence for to detect the uh, unknowing things which are coming from the anywhere in the internet or something, because everything has been installed in the internet only. All the cloud has been exposed to the completely into the internet. So when we are installing the firewall, in the sense it should be having all the like it should be having all the capabilities to fight against those viruses and other things. Firewalls, we can configure the firewalls in many ways. One is through the GUI, another one is through the CLI, and the latest we are seeing it through the like we can configure it through some kind of a scripting also. And say either you'll be doing it through the JSON scripting, or you'll be doing it through the YAML scripting. Like that, we can able to manage these things through the Ansible. That is a network automation things which are going on. So we have been doing this automation for quite a long time. It's firewalls also can be included on this. But many of the times I just say that the configurations of the firewalls are not much done with the automations, but we are trying to collect the reports on this and daily reports, monthly reports, or weekly, the logs and redirecting the logs to the log servers. Like these are all the automation stuff which has been done on the firewalls also. So firewall is a firewall. Everyone will be configuring the firewalls. And now what is the difference between this Juniper firewall, ASA firewall, and Checkpoint firewall, and Palo Alto firewall? Everything is a firewall only. Only the name is different, and the configuration way which we are going to do that the commands may be different, because everyone will be following their own way of doing the commands and other things. They created their own, they developed their own commands and like infrastructure inside. the processor and CPU utilizations and the memory utilizations are something will be different on this one. But when you speak about the concept wise, it's going to be the same firewall which has been everyone is using that. So today we will be discussing about the Juniper firewalls. Juniper is quite good in the router market and firewall market also they are capturing, but Palo Alto is the number one. And I can just say that because a lot of Palo Alto firewalls has been installed nowadays. So ASA, Checkpoint, FortiGate, and the Juniper. So Juniper has got some certification also on this one, like Juniper firewall certifications, Juniper normal routing and switching certifications. Many are there, but we will not be seeing all those things now here. So we will see about the firewall and operations and the model numbers and their capabilities. What are the type of firewalls which we have in Juniper? What are the model numbers are there like that? We're just going to see that all these things. So before starting that, I would like to tell you like this particular demo will be, like there will be a demo for, showing the things how the firewall is can be configured. And I have installed that firewall in my VMware workstation. It doesn't take much memory as such. 4 GB, if you give it, it's more than enough. And 2 virtual CPUs we can give. Minimum 3 network interface cards need to get configured. So the firewall will start working on this. And it may take much more CPU utilizations. So if you are having that i7, minimum i7 is required so that you can enjoy working with the Juniper. Else it may be giving you the, like the latency in the command outputs and all. It will work, but you will get frustrated when you're seeing that command getting executed. It may not give you the proper results in within a expected time. So it may take a lot of time on this. So we will see some small demo after that, and I would like to tell you something about the Juniper firewalls on this. And we are doing the Juniper firewalls because what is the problem with that firewall? Juniper firewall in the sense mostly this has been 90%. I can just say it can be configured through the command line only. People nowadays they are looking for the command configurations and all, like it's quite harder for them. They look for like either if it can be available on a GUI something like that, they will be liking it. Palo Alto can be done through the GUI. Fortinet and what is that? ASA also we can do it through the GUI. That's possible. Cisco. And Juniper has got like JWeb is there. Juniper Web. Like that we can pull up this all the configurations through a browser. We can configure all these things. But when it comes to the Juniper, Cisco, and other platforms and all like that, we like to work on more on command line interfaces. So it's very easy to do that command line because all are based on a Linux background only. This OS is running on the Linux only, and Juniper is running on BSD Unix like that. So everything is same. Literally, you don't find any much differences on this. But they created their own command lines for to execute some operations, creating the policies and creating the NAT policies and creating the objects, global object, local objects, and like creating the filterings, like many other things which you'll be seeing. The show commands are a little bit different here. And there are different modes are there we can configure that. Either we can do it through the CLI mode or we can get into the configure mode to set everything on this. We can set the users to log into that by using their own IDs and their levels of access to that firewall. It's possible. Like many things we will be going to see in this in about 1 hour, maximum 1 hour we can do this demo. So I guess I can start with that. If any questions, please raise your hand or just give a chat on this. In the chat window, you can just type on something like, let me make it maximize this at 5. So Juniper VSRX virtual firewall delivers a complete virtual firewall solution, including advanced security, robust networking, automated virtual machine lifecycle management capabilities for service providers and enterprises. VSRX empowers security professionals to deploy and scale the firewall protection in highly dynamic environments. Powered by Juniper Networks Junos, that is called as a Junos normally. Operating system, the VSRX delivers a complete and integrated virtual security solution, including L4 to L7, means layer 4 to the layer 7, advanced security services, robust networking, and automated lifecycle management capabilities for service providers and the enterprises. Like this isn't like a normal, like a brochure it's been given like here. So we will go to the next one. So there are many models out there in Juniper firewall. In that one, we have small enterprise and branch office models, mid-size enterprise and data center models, large data center and service provider models, and virtual firewalls. There are 4 type of models which we have. So we will start with the small enterprise and branch office model. There is a SRX 300, SRX 320. Let me take my pen so it's easy for me. SRX 300 and SRX 320, SRX 340, 345, 380, and 550. So what is the difference between these two? Like small enterprise and branch office models are like this. The SRX 300 line combines the next generation firewall and advanced threat management, mitigation and routing switching and WAN interfaces for distributed enterprise locations like this. So 320 is a small distributed enterprise branch office and consolidate security, routing, switching, and WAN capability. Small desktop service. 340, it's like distributed, same thing like that, but use a one U form factor. Means like we can install it on a normal rack or something like that. Then 345 is a services gateway as best suited for mid-size to large and distributed enterprise branch offices and consolidate the security. And one U form factor. 380, it's like a services gateway with a high performance and secure SD-WAN connect gateway. Here it's an SD-WAN as well. Here we have an SD-WAN connection. Here it's a normal WAN. This all 4 are normal WAN. This one is having an SD-WAN connections. And as far as for the enterprise offices, we can use it. SDX SRX 550, ideal for securing medium to large branch offices. So this is a small enterprise and branch offices. We will see mid-size enterprise and data center. SRX 1500, SRX 4100 and 4200, SRX 4600. So 1500 will be giving you the high performance, low latency firewall for distributed enterprise campuses, as well as small, medium sized data centers. It's for a data center connectivity. 4100 and 4200, high available next generation firewalls, protect small to medium sized enterprise campus and data centers. 4600, it's an optimized to provide consistent protection across diverse environments with a fast scalable defense for private cloud, campus networks, and cloud service providers and telcos. Telcos means telecom companies, normally we say. So this is mid-size enterprise and data centers. The next one is like, we are going to see the large data centers. I'm sorry. Now it's, would like to take the pen, I just clicked the stop share, sorry. Okay, now we are seeing the large data center and service providers here. 5400 gateway, 5600 series gateway, 5800 series gateway. This is for large data centers. Large enterprise and public sector networks. This is for enterprise data centers and providing the infrastructure and aggregating the security services. 5800, that is for large enterprise data centers, hosted and co-located data centers, service provider infrastructure. Many things are there in this one. So if you like to go beyond certain limits of the large data center and service providers, we can choose these models. Then the virtual firewalls, which normally we look for, because we are going to see this model, but the demo like that, we will be installing this one. I have already installed that. I'll just show you like how to do the command line and other things. VSRX virtual firewall, high performance network security in virtual form factor, rapid deployment and scale out environments. CSRX, this is for a container. Nowadays, everyone is working for a containers only. Like we are using the Kubernetes environments, like microservices and other things. We can protect those containers also by configuring the CRX container firewall. We will be seeing something in the grader, like in the next coming slides. So I'm going to show you the demo with this VSRX. Somebody is chatting. I can't hear your voice. Anyone else? Anyone else has the same problem?
No, I can hear you, but slightly weaker, that's all.
Means like maybe I am just be out of the mic or something.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, Sandy, if you are listening this audio through your headphones, please remove the headphones and listen it on the directly on the phone speaker only, or PC speaker like that. So then it'll be easier for you. Because Zoom has got this problem like that all the headsets which are running on a Bluetooth and all, it will be a problem. I face this problem also. So please try to listen from the PC speaker or mobile speaker, not on the Bluetooth headsets and all things. Okay. CSRX and VSRX. V is means virtual, C means a container. So container firewalls used for like a Docker. We are speaking about a lot of the Docker and the Kubernetes, like many other containers are there. You can even protect those containers by installing the firewalls on this one. So that is what been discussed on this. We'll see the models on all later. So VSRX UTM features and the benefits. What are the benefits are there? What are the features are there? UTM means Unified Threat Management. That everyone knows that, because this UTM is a global concept which has been adopted by every other firewall manufacturers. And SRX is also having the same information with us. Like antivirus feature, we have definitely it should be having like reputation enhanced cloud-based antivirus capabilities, detect and block the spyware, adware, viruses, keyloggers, other malware over POP3, HTTP, SMTP, PM, and FTP protocols. Service provider either on box or on the cloud. Both are possible. Web filtering. Enhanced web filtering, including the extensive category options of 90 plus categories are there. This web filtering can be mostly like a dynamic, because we just need to connect to hook up our firewalls to the, like Juniper site. So it will be downloading the virus signatures always, and what all the filtering need to be done on this, something like that. So that should be the dynamic updates need to be installed, like in a proper scheduled manner. Generally, you will be having this web filtering or web security and other things will be working out. So real-time scorecard delivered to the partnership and with the Forcepoint, leading WAN security provider. That's what I'm saying. We require to have this on connected to that. Content filtering, effective inbound and outbound content filtering based on MIME types and the file extensions and protocol commands and other things. Anti-spam, multi-layered spam protection, up-to-date phishing, URL detection, standards based on MIME and OpenPOP, PGP and TLS encryptions, MIME type, extension blockers provided by the cooperation with the Sophos labs. And they are running their own labs and all. From that, we will be getting some support on this one. But that's what this firewall need to get a proper updates from the Juniper site, so that it will be keep on updating itself through the new viruses and attacks which are happening on day-to-day life. If you are not updating properly, the virus signatures and the other anti-spam and activities are not updated properly, in the sense your firewall will be in out of date format, so it will not be detecting the new viruses which are coming up in the market. Next, this is a benefit when you are installing an antivirus feature. Sorry, what feature we will be getting? What is the benefits we will be getting? Sophisticated protection from the respected antivirus experts against malware attacks that can lead to costly data breaches and lost productivity. Web filtering, protection against lost productivity and the impact of malicious URLs, as well as helping to maintain the network bandwidth for business essential traffic. Content filtering, protection against inadvertent or malicious file transmitting and malicious content on the network to minimize the risk of compromise or data leakage. Anti-spam, protection against advanced persistent threat perpetrated through social networking attacks, and the latest phishing scams and sophisticated email filtering and content blockers. These are the benefits we will be getting when we are having the UTM feature installed. Then it is an IPS features and benefits. IPS is an intrusion prevention system. Stateful signature inspection, protocol decodes, signatures, traffic normalization, zero-day protection, recommended policy, active traffic monitoring, packet capture. These are all can be done as a feature on this IPS. So you see that the signatures are like how many signatures? There are 15,000 signatures are there for identifying the anomalies, attacks, and spyware and applications. And the protocol decodes near about 500 contexts are there. 65 protocols are supported on this one. Reassembly, normalization, and protocol decoding are provided on the traffic normalization. zero-day protection, anomaly detection, and same-day coverage for newly found vulnerabilities are provided on this. So this requires dynamic updates. Recommended policy, attack signatures are identified by the Juniper security team as critical for a typical enterprise to protect against. We require a valid contract for that to have this all, but still. Active traffic monitoring. IPS monitoring includes the active ERHAC clusters. You can use it in the clusters also. Packet capture supports the packet capture logging per rule. This is very much required. Then only we can go and monitor, as well as we can find out what went wrong in the IPS on this. So next you will see the benefits of the IPS. So when you do the stateful signature inspection, minimalizing the false positives and offers a flexible signature development for that. Protocol decoding, accuracy of the signatures improved through the precise context of the control protocols. Signatures, attacks are accurately identified and attempts to exploit. Known vulnerabilities are detected. And zero-day protection, recommended policy updates, active traffic monitoring, and packet capture. Users can conduct further analysis of surrounding traffic and determine further steps to protect the target link. Next, AppSecure for VSRX features and benefits. What is the feature? App track, app firewall, app QoS. App means applications. Analyzes application data and classifies it based on risk level, zones, source, and destination addresses. App firewall creates an application control policies to allow or deny the traffic based on dynamic application name and group names. App QoS meters and marks the traffic based on the application security policies set by the administrator. What are the benefits of these three? Abstract benefits are like usage to identify high risk applications and analyze traffic patterns, improving network management and control. App firewall benefit is enhances the security policy creation and enforcement based on applications rather than traditional port and protocol analysis. App QoS prioritizes the traffic as well as limits and shapes bandwidth based on application information and context to improve overall performance. So ATP is a kind of a feature they activated on this. So data inspection and deep inspection analysis, instant identification to block attacks, and web-based portal for rich reporting analysis tools, quarantine of systems and hosts, SecIntel. This is like intelligence for security, something like that they created, Juniper has created. Command and control the data, email analysis and remediation, threat intelligence, encrypted traffic insights, adaptive threat profiling. These are all being done with the extra, which is something like which has been created by the features and benefits of this. So VSRX services gateway, key performance and metrics. When we are installing this VSRX, means virtual SRX Juniper firewall appliance in the VMware environment, what will be the performance for this one? Like we say, performance and capacities. When we have the virtual CPU 2 is assigned, then we'll have the memory of 4 GB is required. Firewall throughput will be 9.5. Firewall throughput mix 2.4 gigs. AES, GCM, IPsec, VPN throughput and other things will be 2 gigabits per second. Application visibility control, IPS recommended features. TCP connections per second. We can have 55,000 connections. Maximum concurrent sessions we can have 512,000. Number of remote access VPNs we can have 500. So if you are giving it the VMware environment, if you are assigning the appliance, the VM can have only 2 CPU and 4 GB. We can have this much of a features we can achieve. But normally we will give more. For a production environment, we will be giving it more. Minimum like around like 32, 64 GB will be giving it. Normally in a small environment and all, we can go with the 16 GB on this. People are running with the 8 GB also. But 4 GB is actually it is not recommended. We will not be able to run many of the things with the 4 GB. So better you like to have the 8 GB or like a medium environment, we can go with the 16 GB. Better we will go with the best solution will be 32 to 64 GB of this. So you see the SSL connections are same everywhere. You will not be able to increase more. But maximum concurrent connections, you see that 28 million connections we can have to the firewall. And TCP connections, this is 537,660. So these are all the speeds which make sense. Firewall throughput 81 Gbps. Firewall throughput mix, it will be 27 Gbps. It's no mercy. It's more than 15 times, 20 times I can just say. Right. So we require to give more memory as well as the CPU so that we can increase our levels of throughput capability, because firewall in the sense it is going to filter each and every packet and it is going to screen every packet, either it is dropping or allowing, it doesn't matter. First of all, whenever the packet is being received on interface, or it is going to be sent out or somewhere that every other packet is getting screened. When it is screening, in the sense the performance will be completely degraded. Router is not in that way. It will just pick the packet and keep on sending it, switching. So it will be very faster. But when it is come to the firewall, it will start screening everything, in the sense definitely it has to screen each and every packet. Billion packets need to be screened, in the sense it may take near about 2 hours. So people will be waiting for 2 hours to get the packet delivered. No, that's a very bad idea. So we require we just need to see that what are the performance matrix accordingly, like what CPUs we are giving, how much memory we are going to give it, how much is not going to get shared. That is also bigger issue. So this is under the VMware environment. We'll see it on the KVM environment. Means if you are installing it in the Red Hat or something like that, kernel virtual machines. So more or less same only. It's the same exactly. The same 500, 62, something like that, 38 Gbps and all we are getting. 2 CPU means it's very bad. 4 GB and 2 CPU will be like very bad. You will not be getting much performance on this one. Minimum we require 9, this 60 GB or 32, 64 GB like that I can give. So this is VMware comparisons, and this is KVM comparison. VMware we can install it on normally normally in Windows environment we'll create in the VMware, or we will be doing it on a VMware ESXi then we will be installing on VMware ESXi on this, or we can go with the KVM machines as you like. When you go for this VMware, you will be getting this performance. When you're going for a KVM, you'll be getting this performance. System requirements, when we are installing it on virtual, because we are talking about more on virtual here, each vSRX VM has also has multiple virtual network interface cards, VNICs, which can be connected to the various virtual networks to simultaneously protect multiple network signals. Minimum will be having around 6 to 8 cards. Yes, somebody is raising the hand. Yes, again, Sandy, I can't hear your voice. Again, I don't know. Everyone is listening, I guess. Guess all are hearing. All are.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, see. Check it your mic and other things. Yeah, your speakers and all. Okay, thank you. So VSRX system requirements, like VNIX, we need to install it. Minimum 6 to 8 VNIX will be installing. It's the network cards. One will go for like FXP, that is web connections. Another one we will be using for inside, outside DMZ. Like many other zones we can able to create. Normally we will create a lot of zones. It will be like, yeah, somebody else is again thinking. I can't able to hear any audio. I don't know. Are you being muted or something like that? I don't understand. I don't know. Some other everyone is hearing, everyone is able to listen to my voice. So you will be having some problems in your. Either you can do one thing, just get yourself removed from the team and join again back. So maybe that will help you. Sandy, you can go out of the meeting, then join again. Sandy. I guess he is seeing my chats, maybe. You can get that. You can go out of the meeting, then join again, Sandy. Thank you. Okay, so we'll continue. So leveraging the software receives side scaling implementations, the VSRX provides additional cores beyond the minimum 2 CPU up to maximum 32 vCPUs. Same instance without having to certify the new instance image. By using 17 vCPUs from a single socket, VSRX can achieve up to 98 Gbps performance. These are all coming under the performance criteria. So if we give that two virtual core CPUs, memory will be like maximum 32 GB we can have. From 2 to 32 GB we can have that. What all the supported NIC types are? VMX Net3, VirTu, something like SRIOV and 14OE SRIOV, like that, something is that. In normally I install with this VMX Net3 on, he's saying that 4 times I've done already. It's okay. Sorry to disturb you. Join another class. I am very sorry. I don't know what's happening in your region. Maybe like check it out. Okay, nice. Then virtual CPU cores 5. If you have that, then you can go until the 32 GB of the maximum. But you should start with the 8 as a minimum. Then all these things has been supported. When you have virtual core as a 9 CPU, 64 GB you can reach. But here the network cards are only this model has been allowed. So this is for a designing perspective when you are installing some of the VSRX firewall on the VMware environment. Like either if it is in a VSRX or environment like KVM environment, whatever it may be. If you are doing it, you just need to keep this in mind, like how you are going to support this. Firewall specifications, protocols, how many protocols are supported? IPv4, IPv6, MPLS, ISO, connectionless network service, that is a CLNS, study routes, RIP version 2 and 1, OSPF v3 and v4, normally IPv4 other things, BGP, ISIS, multicast, MPLS and VPLS. IP address management static, dynamic host configuration protocol, internal DHCP server DSLA, address translation, every other blah blah, it will be supporting that. 802.1Q for VLAN support. Like we will be using the trunking and other things we can use on this. The next one is a security firewall. Every other firewall features are there in this one. You can just see VPN has been supported. Unified access control has been supported on this. You see, and the VPN and the tunnels. Every other tunnel has been supported. Authentication, pre-shared, IKE, configuration payload, IPsec completely supported, and IPsec encryption algorithms and decryption algorithms and other things. VPNs, Microsoft Azure dedicated hardware space, IPv6. This is very much required. IPv6 is required. So these are all the security features which we see being supported on the VSRX. And SLA measurement and monitoring, hypervisors. What are the hypervisors are supported? When we try to install the VSRX, so we require to configure it on some hypervisors. VMware ESXi, starting from the version 5.5 until 6.5, it has been supported. Then KVM QEMU, this is under the Linux environment. CentOS 7.1 will be the base server, you can install it. Ubuntu until 16.10, Red Hat 7.3. I don't see the Red Hat 8 is there in this. Hyper-V, that is another Microsoft environment until 2016 we can have. And Nutanix also been supported on this. So hypervisor supports, you just need to have until 6.5 only it has been supported. You cannot install it in 7 or something, it's not possible. And just see it, like these are all the basic requirements for the hypervisor will be supporting on this. Next generation firewall. Juniper Networks SRX series services gateway delivering integrated next generation firewall protection services with application awareness, user identity, and content inspection. In addition to NGFW capabilities, SRX series devices also offer intrusion prevention, SSL inspection, URL filtering, unknown threat protection, detection. You're providing a single security platform that addresses a wide range of security requirements from the common architecture. So what are the things are provided by the NGW? Application identification and control, AppSecure. User identification is in user firewall. Attack mitigation, that is an intrusion prevention system. Unknown threat, that is a Juniper ATP cloud. Real-time protection, SecIntel. Block, unknown threat, anti-malware protection. Browsing defense, malicious URL filtering. Encrypted protection is an SSL proxy. You will be seeing just one by one on the next coming slides. So like AppSecure, it offers a powerful security platform that is equipped with to meet this challenge. AppSecure, that will be application securely. Either it is regardless of port, protocol, and encryption methods, offering deep application visibility and control, provides a context that links application to user regardless of location and device. User-centric application designed primarily for personal communication, such as instant messaging, peer-to-peer file sharing, webmail, social networking, IP voice and video collaboration. they can be classified under the unique application system. Next, user identification. Who is logging in? Who is actually surfing in which network? Through the AD integrations and all, it is possible on this. We normally do that. That is an Active Directory, LDAP Active Directory has to be done. Then only we'll pinpoint which user is actually doing something, on which particular PC has been completely infected on this, from where the malware is getting propagated or something like that. You can get all these information using the user identification. Attack mitigation, intrusion prevention. So IPS is going to mitigate by using the advanced threat protection prevention cloud. Then solution constantly monitors new exploits against recently discovered vulnerabilities, keeping network protection up to date against new cyber attack methods. Network-borne attacks against vulnerabilities on client and server systems immediately blocked inline before any damage can be done on this. So unknown threat, they have created their own ATP cloud like that, advanced threat protection. From there, you will be getting the unknown threats will be get annihilated, means like it will be getting removed from the node. Encrypted traffic insights offered through Juniper ATP Cloud enables the SRS series firewalls to identify the hallmarks of CMC, botnet traffic within SSL, hiding within SSL like that you can find. And it is offering the ATP Cloud, network traffic and other things. Each organization can configure their threat feeds based on the specific needs, with near infinite adaptability to changing threats and network conditions. Real-time protection, that is a second term. Real-time protection identifies and blocks the sophisticated attacks using high-fidelity threat feeds from Juniper Threat Labs, third parties, and unique Intel feeds automatically provided, populated using your own network and threat data. Any infected devices can be contained using Juniper routers, switches, firewalls, and third-party integrations, allowing you to leverage your entire infrastructure for the threat mitigations. So anti-malware protection, we know that everything has been, we require this because of it's completely, our environment has been changed to the cloud-centric and internet-based. So we require anti-malware protections. Malicious URL filtering, rootkit, that is a precursor to the advanced persistent attack. Data stolen like that something. It goes on. Up-to-date databases of malicious URLs that are constantly being discovered around the world. SSL proxy, which we normally do that, instead of giving that the people to get connected directly through the SSL from the outside to the inside, this firewall will be creating a certificate within that. So it will get terminated on this one on the firewall itself, and between the firewall and you, it will be like firewall created certificate will be working on, that is an SSL proxy. So Juniper offers a powerful application level SSL proxy that sits between the client and server, intercepting the encrypted traffic, terminating the session, and reinitiating the connection towards the end destination. So this is called as a forward proxy. Everybody will be doing this nowadays. So even the FI load balancer is also doing the same kind of an activity. So that you will be having some high speed connections can be established between the client and the, like your web servers or something. That is possible. That is also been included as an SSL proxy here. So SRX series platform support for NGW. If you would like to have the SRX like NGW support, we require to have this from these platforms only we can have. You cannot have everything on like this. These are all the platforms. SRX 300 starting, 550, 1500, sorry, 1500, 4000, 5000 in VSRX. This is also there. In VSRX, we require to have Junos 15.1, that is required. Almost all are having the same version. So if you have that, we can have the NGW can be supported on this. And we will see the next one. So as I told you that SRX firewall can be installed in AWS environment, Azure environment, and the Google environment also. How we are going to install it? Like we will be normally installing it like a virtual platform only. So there are different type of like licensing models available according to our the requirement. We can go for a lower end models, middle end models, or higher end models. Like because every other traffic which is going to flow through that AWS platform only. So we require to choose it accordingly. So how does it works? How do we install it out? What is from where we will be getting like from marketplace? We can pull up that Juniper firewall and we can install it. So this is your AWS. Here it is the AWS cloud. In this one, we are installing the, like inside the VPC, we install the VSRX. VPC means a virtual private cloud. And this is the ECS clusters in the like Elastic Compute Cloud, something like say EC2. And here, this is connected to the Juniper ATV cloud, and which will be giving the output for the SRX series management of this. And it will be like a branch office connections, we can have it. Then again, one more, like we can have the URL filtering, something like that, and elastic load balancing we can have, and the CloudWatch we can have. That means like we are going to monitor these entire things. So these are all connected to the AWS cloud we can have. So we install it in some other VPC or VRX, VSRX. Then it will be connected to its like, or normally it will be connected to the ATP cloud to download all the latest signatures and other things. We can even do the branch office management from here. It's possible. And we can monitor this inside the AWS cloud itself. It's possible. So many of the VSRX firewalls are installed in the AWS cloud. So we should know how to install it in our own VPC. Like we need to create our VPCs and subnets and like security groups and other things need to be configured so that we can install it in the AWS platform. So what are the features on AWS? Secure connectivity, secure the SD-WAN, workload protection, and workload segmentations, advanced security services, intrusion prevention systems. So these are all the features which we can get it on the AWS. Same features we will be getting it on the cloud also, but here we require something more because this is going to work on VPC private clouds. So this is a different like on or on-premises data centers like that. So secure SD-WAN, it can provide your SD-WAN connections also, security also for this. Workload protections, with the VSRX on AWS, customers can ensure policies that are consistently deployed across their network. Whether those workloads operate on premises, in public cloud, or at the edge, customers already using the SRX series firewalls in their network can easily extend the policies to VSRX operating in the public cloud or elsewhere. Means we can extend it. You mean that I have installed already in my on-premises. Should I be able to um, manage the EC2 instances which I installed in the AWS? Can I manage those things also? It is possible. So we can extend this support. The next one is workload segmentation. Communication to ensure workload segmentation on AWS, deployed to ensure the policies regarding which communication should be allowed between the workload segments. Advanced security services, IPS, malware protection, app control, and security. Intrusion prevention system. Anyway, it has been connected to the ATP cloud and all like that. So it will be blocking all the unnecessary URLs. Scalable hardware support, definitely. We can, because if it is in AWS, we can, anytime we can increase our CPU and memory and other things. It's very flexible. Metadata based on firewall policies, auto scaling, elastic load balancing, flexible licensing model. That is like a pay as you go model. It's possible. Means you are going to use it for only 3 months in the sense we will be running it for 3 months. Only 3 months it will be charged. After that, we can remove that and we can give it back to the AWS itself. So they will not charge you anything more. If you are going to run it for a month or something like that, we can use it. Or if you want to extend it, we can do that. Or we can bring our own license also. That is called as bring your own license models. There are 2 different models are there in this. And the key performance metrics you can just see. So AWS instance type, what instance type we will be using this, like C4X large, C5 large, C5N 2X large, C5N 9X large. CPU cores, how many CPUs are going to be supported, how much memory is being supported, firewall throughput, IPsec VPN throughput, maximum concurrent connections. These are all we can have it. So when we are installing the VSRX on the AWS, Juniper itself will say that vendor recommending some models will be there. So minimum we require to have this C4. So then only we'll be getting like 4 CPU cores will get, 7 GB memory will be getting it, and 1.2 Gbps will be the firewall throughput, 630 Mbps will be the IPsec VPN throughput. Maximum connections we can have the 2 million connections we can have. And it goes on, like we can have this performance metrics. So this is on Google Cloud Platform. So in GCP also we can install this. Same way, there is no much difference in this one. Here we are installing it on GCP 1 and GCP 2 like that. 2 firewalls they are saying it. Then it goes to that enterprise data centers on this. its management can be done from here. So it is all connecting through this public cloud or something. So ATP connection has been already there. So there is no difference as such. When you install, if you know how to install it in AWS, then you can install it in any other cloud as well. Means like one other cloud you would like to have some experience. So then you can manage other clouds also, because only the settings will be here and there. Some GUI configurations has to be done on here. And what are the benefits? Same like we will be having secure connectivity in GCP also, workload protection, workload segmentation, advanced security services, intrusion prevention systems. Like that, SD-LAN is also been supported on GCP. And what are the benefits you see? Scalable hardware support, that's AWS is also supporting that. Flexible licensing model, definitely. PAYG, there is a pay as you go model, and the BOI options. Allows you to start with the 2 CPU cores and 7.5 GB memory and 16 core to 60 GB. That is the maximum we can do. So here the instance types are there. N1 standard 2, that is a vCPUs, and the 2 CPUs are there, 7.5 GB. 4 CPU, 15 GB. 8 CPUs, 8 CPUs and 30 GB supported. So if you like to have, this is the combination we need to go for this. So we can have it on this, and we can install it in the Azure also, Microsoft Azure. Same like Azure Virtual Net 1 and Virtual Net 2. Virtual network we'll be creating, like we are saying it as like a VCP in AWS. So we will say this as a virtual network in the Azure. That's the only difference. So this is connecting to this SRX series management, security director, and SRX series firewall, enterprise data centers. You can have connectivity on this. Similar support will be given on the Azure also, like scalable hardware support, metadata based firewall policies, flexible licensing, Azure load balancer, Microsoft Azure Key Vault hardware security module. Something like that it has been. So here the CPU cores and other things are 4 CPU or 8 CPU or 16 CPU. Accordingly, we can have the memories 14 GB, 28 GB, 56 GB. So when you are ordering an information on the PAYG, means like pay as you go model on Azure Marketplace. Product will be like next generation firewall VSRX. Description, core firewall featuring IPsec VPN, network access translation, cost of service, and rich routing services. App secure featuring app ID, app firewall, app QoS, and app track. Content security services that include the IPs. It's quite normal because we are installing the same firewall over and everywhere. So we will be getting every other features which is installed on Juniper firewall. We'll get it on every other cloud services also. Here we come up to that CSRX container firewall, which I was talking about, the Kubernetes containers, Docker containers, Pacmans. So many things are come in the market now. So nowadays all the web servers and applications, even the small databases and all, they have started running on the containers itself. So container security is also very much important. That is becoming like a surmounting, like they are spending much money on, like securing their containers, because containers can be created in a second. They can be removed in a second itself. Like they are, whenever the application requires, we'll just create a container and put on applications running for maybe 1 or 2 weeks or something. Later we'll be dismantling it. So that's how it is going on. Most of the web servers are running on nowadays in the containers only. Nginx, we are using a lot of things. So how to protect that? Because that is, containers are again installed in the operating systems only. Like either it's in the Linux platform or Unix platform or Sun Solaris platform or some other platforms which you are using there. On AWS also we are using a lot of containers. Like AWS has got a container services there. Azure has got a container service. Google has got a container service. Kubernetes container service. Clusters we can create on this. So we are in a position to protect our container also by attacking, because it is very easy. If it's just a web server attack only, people will be targeting for a container based web servers as well as app servers also. Like, so we need to protect those things. So nowadays, this every other firewall is started supporting the container, protecting the container firewall containers like that. That's a C means a container SRX. Compact footprint, high density container firewall secures cloud native applications. Cloud native, that's more important. Cloud native applications. And highly agile container firewall advances services to improve visibility and security of containerized applications and microservices. Business increasingly rely on container technology for developing and deploying cloud native applications. CSRX container firewall protects your containerized environment with advanced security services, including content security, IPS, then UTM, and AppSecure. Like that it's been done. So using the CSRX to deploy the security policies that limits the access to the specific applications, while IPS protects applications that are not easily patched. To control and protect applications from east-west traffic, the CSRX supports micro-segmentation with the security policies layers 4 to 7, limiting traffic band between the different container segments. So this is about our container environment, how to install the container firewalls on this. So here it's continuing. It supports easy, flexible, highly scalable deployment options that cover a variety of customer use cases, including application protection within the container, micro-segmentation, or an edge gateway for secure IoT deployments through a Docker container managed solutions. CSRX also support SDN via Juniper Network Control, Enterprise Multi-Cloud, Open Control, and other third-party solutions that can be integrated with other next-generation cloud orchestration tools such as OpenStack. Deployed as a part of Control Edge Cloud, the CSRX can participate in the network function service chains, acting like a bump in the wire between the two data flows and target container. CSRX adds security enforcement points where none have existed before, offering the most comprehensive network security for Kubernetes deployments. It's more important. So it is nothing but a bump in a wire. It's actually finding out what is actually happening between the two containers. Like when it is going through the cluster environment, two containers are talking to each other in the distance. What is happening? This has been done. This is like a bump in a wire, it's called. So for Kubernetes environment deployments, we just need to deploy the containers. Many other people are not running as such because they may be thinking that it will slow down the traffic between the containers. Like that. But we require the CRX need to be installed. The next one is key performance metrics as usual. Virtual CPU is a 2, memory 4 GB, firewall throughput, like firewall throughput, IMAX, and application visibility and control, visibility and control, IPS and recommended signatures, connections per second, maximum concurrent sessions. This much is compared between the CRX large when you have a CRX large. So we come up to the last slide. As usual, I just try to display my name and like the contact numbers or something. You can talk to me on this one because I have installed this BSRX in my own laptop. We can have multiple labs, like we are creating the VPN, security net, security policies, like IPsec VPNs with the Cisco routers, many things which we can do on this, not a problem. So if you would like to have any kind of questions, if you'd like to ask me about this course and other things and all, you can ask me. I am very much free for that. Now I have more times. So any questions from your side? You can ask me. Or you can put it in the chat, we can continue with that. So we will be seeing number of labs on this one, BSRX. We can do every other lab it's possible on the virtual machine as it's been installed in the laptop. But minimum so if you can have around 12 GB RAM in your laptop, it's nice. And near about 2 to 4 CPUs need to be given to that because we are running on Windows 10 platforms. So it requires something more. And we have to install certain web servers as well as and the client machines also. So better if you have 16 GB on this and 4 CPU if you can allocate for the CRX firewall. Then we can do all the labs like creating IPsec VPNs and deploying the is GeoBlock possible. GeoBlock, it's an extended feature. We can activate it. It's not a problem. But those are all coming. That comes with the license actually. So what we are doing it in the VSRX here is like minimum 60 days license is available. With that, we can activate certain features. 85% of the features we can see it on the VSRX firewall with the 60 days copy like this. So, but GeoBlock is also possible. But we need to go for enterprise level license for this one to see it. And comparatively speaking, that there is no much difference as such. Is there any difference between the UTM and the NGFW features? NGFW, like next generation firewalls, they talk about that. What is it? Layer 4 to layer 7 attacks and all. They'll talk about NGFW. Next generation firewalls and all, because it is going beyond the port and protocol level. It has been working on application level. So that is called as an NGFW. UTM is Unified Threat Management. That comes with your antivirus and spams and ransomwares and other things. That will be the difference between those. So we can configure SRX for at least for understanding purpose as well as interviews and like examination clearing and all like that. And we will be able to see around 90% of the labs on this your laptop itself. You don't require any kind of uh, heavy platform or something. It's not required. You don't need to install it in an ESXi. ESXi platform is not required as such. It's a normal firewall. We can do that mostly. But what the issue is that 90% of the configurations are done through the CLI only, command line interface. We need to learn the commands. It's easier. Tab facility has been there, auto completion has been there. So, but we should know that if you are coming through the Juniper router configurations and all, it's very easy for you because it is very much similar. And if you are coming from the Cisco environment, if you've done it on some, like the command line features and all that, because Cisco mostly configured through the command line only. Nexus and all, we are using command line only. So better if you do it with the command line, it's easy because JWeb is there. I'll show you the JWeb, how does it work. And so we can see many of the practicals on this VMware itself. It's very much possible. So any other questions from anyone? You can unmute your mic and you can ask me any questions. No problem. I am ready to answer. Today is Sunday, so I can answer your all questions. I'm free. Ask me. Don't worry. Anything like about any firewall, any other firewall, comparison between the firewalls, or any other courses if you're looking for any cloud level things like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, everything I work on. And like you can ask me any questions. I have delivered the trainings on like Fortinet, AC, and Palo Alto, like, and now Juniper has also been added to that list. Juniper we've been already working on, but I just need to make all the labs ready. So now it has been ready, so I can start with that. Maybe like 1 month or something, we can able to complete all the labs on the Juniper. It's very easy. But the only thing is that we require i7 with the 16 GB with the 500 GB hard disk if you have. So we can install some clients as well, firewall, and we can do all the labs on this. And the 60 days evaluation copy is available from the Juniper. So we don't need to worry about that. You don't need to go and crack anywhere to find the firewall, other operations and other things. It's easy. We can install it in our own platform on this one. Okay, if there is no much questions, I will go for I will be starting this VMware. I'll go with this one. So this is what I installed, the Junos ESRX. Let me show you the virtual machine settings here. It's a version 3 which we are running. It's a latest one. Say I given only 4 GB on this. I can even increase it, not a problem. Processors I given 2. And hard disk it's only around 20 GB something has been given. I given 3 network cards. One is a bridged, second one is a bridge, third one is inside I'm using that one. So bridged it will go for a FXP connection. FXP means like we will be using it for the web management like that. It will go with that. And the next one is like a G0000. That is like I'm using it for like outside connections. The other one is like a G001 like that. There are 3 interfaces. This is for web management and this is for outside connections. And this is for inside zone I can say. Things are very simple. I just made it, but we need to do a lot of labs on this. We need to create multiple interfaces as well. I can install many interfaces, not a problem. So it's a VMware environment. Clear this. So 4 GB, 2 CPU, and 16 GB hard disk. I just given that because there is no much policies. I didn't given it. This is automatically taken on this. I can still go and modify this. It's possible. So let me start this firewall. Clicking on power on. It will take at least 2 minutes to come up. So now it is starting. It will load every other things on this. We need to wait until it is getting started. Lopic quality. Initiation will take time. So from VMware workstation point of view, if If I give 2 CPU, it's more than enough, not required to give anything more. If you are having a high platform like i10, if you are running that, you can give more CPUs on this. Memory also you can increase it. So it is mounting all the Junos platforms. So we have 60 days evaluation copy. That is it. 60 days. Means 2 months it will be running without any problems. You can see it through the licensing command is there. With that we can find out that. It's activated on this one. You can create your account on the Juniper site and then you can download these virtual machines. You can work on that. Juniper is normally like it's a CLI only, command line interface only. Even routers also. It's a bit different between the Cisco and Juniper. ESRX is booting, ESRX is early, running the early init script. We have to wait, no other way, until it is coming up. SLB driver, creating initial configuration. Don't be afraid. It takes a minimum 2 minutes. Then only things will come up online, so you can able to log in and run commands. So now it's come to the online, but still the interfaces are not get initialized at all. We just need to wait until more time. Bird step. And it started hissing my fans here. Means my laptop I'm saying, because it is taking more CPU on this. Initially it will be taking more, later it will not be giving much on this. So now the network cards are, network cards are initialized. You can see that. I can log in here as like this. CLI. So this one only, through this one only I have to run this. So it will be showing me the interfaces and other things. So we need to learn the commands. There is no other way. We have to learn all the commands. Let me do this one. I will do one thing. I will log in through the outside PuDI. Like that. Let me log in from there, so it's easy for me. So I can run the commands very easily. 10.0.10.120. So it's coming. I'll log in as an admin here. So I logged in. CLI. So it's already been a CLI. So I just need to go to configure. So if I wanted to configure the Juniper SRX, I just need to type configure command. Then I will be getting the hash prompt on this. Then I can try show commands here. It will be showing all the outputs of this. Outputs in the sense it is nothing but a configuration. It's a June SRX one, that is a host name I given, root authentication, encrypted password. Admin a user I created. He is a super user and authentication password. And what all the services are activated as such, SSH. Through that I logged into this box from outside. Web management has been done through the HTTP. Interface is XFXP. Then syslog and other things, necessary things are done. License, this has been done on this. Security, this is an address book. And it will be showing the interfaces also here. This is the interfaces. G0. This is the outside interface I'm using this. So 192.168.1 dot. This is an outside interface. And this is an inside interface. So inside interface, I have installed the web servers. Outside interface will connect to the internet. Okay. And this FXP, which is coming up, that is for a web management. That's for a web management. There are 3 interfaces I configured. Only 3 network cards I like configured for this SRX to work with it. So G00, G001, FXP. FXP, as of speaking, like people doesn't use much in FXP in this environment because they are liking only this. This is through that FXP I can log into. Web interface I can log in. It's a static routing which has been pointing out every other packet to go outside on this like this. I can see the interfaces only here. Not be working here. I need to come out. Show interfaces. Ters. Ters is a command to see that what is the IP addresses assigned for which interface we can run this. G000, that is an outside interface, and G0010, this is an inside interface. FXP00, this is for the web management interface. It goes on. Then I can just say show system software. I can try this. What all the modules are installed in this Juniper? Show system license. I can try. Yeah, this license you can just see that it's been installed for 60 days. You see that it is installed for 60 days here. Countdown, it means it's days are getting counted. Now it is 59 days are remaining on this one. Right? It's a virtual appliance. We are installed in this. And IPsec VPN client, how many license installed? 2 license installed. Means 2 people can log into this. Like that it goes on. Logical system is a 3. Virtual appliance is a 1. And license used. 1 virtual appliance license has been used. Expiry is on 59 days. Licenses installed. What all the licenses are installed on this? Software serial number, VSRX Juniper evaluation, and it is a virtual license. Its validity is a 60 days. So we can just see that we can run all the things whichever it is required here. On this one we can install. Show system. I can check many things on this. So show system configuration. Require syntax and so many things required. So let me go inside that, then I'll be showing you that. So further, I just need to get into the configuration mode. Show configuration, not working. Okay, show, I can just check it out. Show firewall. So every command we just need to learn. Show firewall family. Missing argument. So I can check all these things, VPNs and INET6 monitoring. So if I like to do the monitoring, I can do it from here. Monitor, it'll show that. Monitor traffic and interface G00. Just do that. This is a live monitoring which has been done on the Juniper SRX firewall. It will be coming up now because it is just going on. Listening on G000. 000 is nothing but our outside interface. Now it's coming. 192.168.1.1, that is my gateway. Its MAC address has been shown on this. If I do some pinging from here, I'll be able to get all the information here. Let me ping this. And as I let it go through that, I'll be getting all this. You see that. Who has 101 and ARP reply 101. 101 is my PC. This Windows 10 is 101 IP. So it will be coming up now. So like I can monitor each and every interface as well. .0 also I can do. That is IP address monitoring on this one, interface monitoring. In our reply, it may take some time because it is collecting all the logs and it is showing it to our, the console. Okay, let's leave this and monitor. You can see many things like monitor interface. Monitor interface G00.0. So this is a live monitoring, like how many packets are input and output, which are run on this. We can see that. The time is now is at 12:19. That is my system time it is taken. So it is going on, like something is going on here. Queue to quit. I can do all monitoring here. Security listing stop. Whether I can just do. So literally, what do we need to do? We need to have all the configurations has to be done through this. Show security policies. What is the policy I installed? This is a policy output. So there is a web service has been allowed, source address any web server and all like that. Show security NAT. What is the NAT configuration which I have done on this? Some of the things which I already configured on this. And if you like to see what is the configuration you have done that. This is the command to see that. Show display set, it will be showing. What are the set commands? Through the set commands, we will be giving all the the commands and setting the configurations for the Juniper SRX firewall. These are all the commands which are already configured on this. Internal zone, external zone, outside zones, security zones need to get configured. So this is the policy. It goes on like from zone internal internet to zone internal policy allow web service source addressing something like that. We just need to. So everything is like here. It's a command line utility only. So let me try log into this the JWeb. Okay. Let me see if it works. http://192.168.1.126. This is the JWeb. It will take enough time for it to come in. So now this is a JWeb. JWeb means a Juniper Web VSRX. This we can configure the Juniper box through this JWeb also. Let me log into this. It will take a lot of time to show the outputs and also you will get very much frustrated by seeing this. Yeah, now it's coming. Ready, set. Let's go. Configure the interfaces, configure security zones, configure firewall policies, configure NAT policies, manage your license. Well, like we can go like like a ready reckoner. We just click on one thing and we can just go and do that. Let me close this one. It's not required. Here it is the basic settings. System identity details. Here it's showing admin password, DNS server, domain search, date and time details. It's here. UTC time, which is some picking up like 12:21. It's my system time. And sync with the computer time. I done that. Management access configurations. Subnet. What is the management port 126? Through that I logged into this JWeb. Subnet is actually taken on this. Services. What all the services are activated? SSH activated and HTTP is activated. Which are all the interfaces are included on this? Web API, REST API. Actually, I have not done anything on this one. It's not configured. We can configure that. Through that, we will be able to manage this through the automation boxes and other things. Security logging. Because the logging is not actually activated. If I am activating logging, then I need to give some more space to hold all the logs on this. So SNMP, we can configure that as usual. All the network devices can get managed through the SNMP. The cluster settings. There are some unsaved changes on security database. Do you want to navigate without saving changes? Yes. So cluster configuration, we have not configured any cluster at all. It's just a single firewall. So here is a cluster HA, high availability, something like that. So we do not want to go for this exit now. Yes. Then the interfaces, how many ports are there? We configured only 2 ports. One is for the outside, one is for the inside zone. Both are up and running. VLANs, I didn't configure any VLANs here. And link aggregations, it's also not going. It's going. It takes time. What we need to do, we just need to give some more CPU as well as more memory also for this. So it will come up for the link aggregations like that. Many times it hangs, it doesn't work properly. That's why I'm mostly I don't use this. Anyway, I wanted to show you like, so I guess we can go for a network. This is all like ALG forwarding policies. Users can have like user management, access profile, forward authentication, firewall authentication, UAE settings, security objects, security services, security policy, NAT, AppSecure, UTM, IPS, threat prevention, IPsec VPN, user firewall, SSL profiles, ICAP redirect. Many things I can do. I guess this is running with the link aggregation only. It's a problem. Let me see if it gives some kind of security policy rules. Something is coming up. Let's see. It's a heavy memory. Sometimes it get hangs also in this one. So I can just check how many users are logged into this. Show users. Show system users. I need to do it from the outside. HI. So I logged in as a root. I logged into that CLI. I logged in inside the VMware. Then through admin, I logged into this. This session is a SuperPutti session is a admin, and the JWeb I logged into this. Right. Let me see if this came or not. No, it's not coming. IPv4, IPv6. Nothing is showing as such. So because we require more memory, and otherwise mostly like these firewalls things will be running perfectly on Internet Explorer and other. Let's see, administration, dashboard. The dashboard. Don't know. Drag and drop the widget to add to your dashboard. Once widget get added to the dashboard, that can be edited, refreshed, or removed. Okay, but it is still rotating now. What to do? This is a user which we logged in now, and this is about the preferences on this. Let's cancel this. Sending a mail, not required. This is the system which I am actually currently logged into this. Okay, this will be a boring thing. It doesn't come properly. Alarms, ports, events, user, device, JC clusters, routing. I can do this RIP, OSPF, BGP, class of service, which I can do. QoS classifications, I can make that. DHCP, NATing, I can do here. Authentications, firewall authentication, local authentications, security services, policy, UTM, and other things. IPsec VPN, I can configure from here. Phase 1 and phase 2. Flow session and flow gate, VLANs, threat map. So these are all coming, but nothing is coming here. Okay. So this is it's a boring one. Don't know why it's not coming along. Better if you give some more memory to this guy, it may be working. Forwarding, users, security objects, nothing is working. Better I do one thing, I will log out from this. Log out as an admin, yes. Let me close this and try open it again. Let me see. So show the users. Yeah, I logged it. Now let me see. 192.168. 192.168. It's come. Okay. Login. Okay. Now let's see. Hopefully, if it is not rotating, it's nice. Oh yeah, it's out. So interfaces and reports, monitoring the ports. Here it is coming. Admin status, port information will be shown here. Refresh in 30 seconds, something like that it goes on. And it's still rotating. Means it's try to find out what are the ports are there. Alarms. We don't have any alarms as such. Events, all events. Something is started reporting now. Message from syslogd. It's trying to give some logs to that, like traffic logging not enabled in stream mode. Okay, leave it, not required. Firewall, it's not actually made. So we let us go from this monitoring. It'll be nice for us. So here the network routing and other policies are there. Users and other things are there here. Reports not activated as such. Administration, you can see. These are all the files. Protect the login files, temporary files, jailed temporary files, delete the backup Junos package, RPM tools, ping MPLS, trace route, ping host. Everything is possible. Oh, great. This is for software upgradations like that. Upload, install, rollback, like that. So guess we can do a lot of things on this one, but I better just not touching it because I mostly like to go for CLI only. So now the JCB was come. How many interfaces are there in this? We have 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 until 10 interface it is supporting. 5 plus 5 is 10 is supporting. We configure only 2, actually 3. One is for web management. This is for web management. This is for outside connections. This is for inside connections. So these are not used at all. Now it is giving like many things on this. See here it is giving like system identification. Juno software release 19.2R18, system time, system uptime, BIOS version, serial number, everything is coming. File usage, system identification, login sessions, all widgets. So showing. I can refresh this. Can I do this? Yeah, this is now system identification has already been there. Login sessions. Yeah, it's coming. Now the login session is coming. Admin, root, and through the JWeb I logged into that. There are 3 login sessions for that. And file usage, let me see if we can have this file usages. So log files are picking up 5.3 MB. Temporary files are taking 19K. Crash, it's taken 1K. Database files are taking 12 MB. Like that. Applications, let me see what is the application can do. No data because I didn't configure any applications. Resource utilizations. Memory utilization, how much? 79%. Around. PP memory and RE means routing engine. CPU total is 14%. It's going on. And this memory like this. It's nice. It's showing a lot of things. Top events, interfaces, total interfaces, most dropped packets. There is nothing as such here. Web filtering and all, it's not been configured. So otherwise we can see this applications, users, content filters, web filtering. Many things are there, but we have not configured anything. So it's easy. Like widgets can be created on the screen itself. You can see a lot of on this. Dashboard monitor configure. So this is about the configuration which we've seen already. System services, security policy, rules. What are the rules are there? There is internet to internal, something like that. From outside to inside. That is the rule has been there. Objects, what all the objects are configured? Zones. The untrust zone is like trust and untrust zone will be automatically created when the firewall is created. And the internal zone is there, external zone is there. Means like internet zone is there. So like you can see NAT source. It's working, yeah, very good, nice. So I didn't see much of this because I mostly work with the CLIs only. We don't do this all, like decoration things and all. It is time wasting. Proxy ARP, app secure. We haven't touched anything, so we can't see this. Good. We are seeing a lot of things from this. Security objects, app tracking, address pools, users, user management. There you can see. Admin, the only one user has been created here. Authentication methods. It's a password is an authentication method. TechX is not configured. Password strength settings. Minimum how much, maximum how much can do. Nice, very nice. So we can manage this through the JWeb also. Okay. But actually, I will not be, encouraging people to use the JWeb or something because you lose a lot of, the excitement when you are configuring something through the CLI. So let us log out. That will be nice. It doesn't take much. Let me log out. I logged out. So let me see users. I logged out on this one. So now what I did, I just did some small lab. It's a small lab. It's nothing but like I just created one. Let me annotate that. This is a web server. And this is a web server like that. It's running with the CentOS 7. And this web server has been installed in the internal zone. That is nothing but our inside zone, I can say. And it is connected to the firewall, Juniper firewall. And the Juniper firewall has got an outside interface. In the outside interface, I have a Windows 7 machine or Windows XP machine, something is there. So I created the security policy And I created the NAT policy also, which has been already been there in the firewall. So when a person comes from the outside internet, when he tries to access the web server on this one, so I given him the access through the firewall, so that he will be coming through only the, he can able to see the content of that firewall on this. It's a simple practice. People coming from the outside go to the inside, created a security policy and a NAT policy. So we'll show you the policies now, already created. Let me go to that configure. Show security policies. This is what. From zone internet to zone internal. Policy allow web service. Match source address anything can be given. Destination address is web server. What is the application is a HTTP. We need to say that Juno's HTTP. Then permit. We are permitting that. But natting will be done on this. How does it getting natted? He will be getting natted to the outside interface on this. Means when he is accessing the internal web server, he will be accessing it with the address of 125. Okay. And I just need to type this address from the outside PCs so that I will be able to get the page which is getting displayed from this internal web server. Let me start the internal web server. This is it's an internal site. So let me start the CentOS web server. It may take a minute or something. Then I'll be starting this Windows XP also. This is an outside VMNet 0. So it's coming up. CentOS, it's very easy to configure the server, so I just done that. It doesn't take much memory. So because we are expecting everything to be done with the one CPU, so I'm giving you like very minimal requirement to run the web server environment on the VMware workstation. CentOS 7 I installed. CentOS 8 is also available, but requires more memory for that. So 7 we can go with that. It's starting. Yes, this guy is also starting. So let me log into this. Root. And IP address of this is 10.0.10.155. So when he is in inside zone, so 10.0.10.155, and he will be accessing it from the outside by using the outside IP only. Firewall will do the natting, and as well as it will be allowing the policies to come up. So let me try whether the services has been started or not. System services status. Let me start that service. It may take a lot of time for that. Let me start the service. System CTL start HTTPD. That is how I'll be starting the web server. It's taking a lot of time. Starting. Let us do one time. Let me log into this guy first. So I logged in. Let me show my IP here. I guess it's being started now. Still starting it. What's my IP? 175 is my IP, and 125 is going to be the gateway. That is nothing but outside interface of the firewall IP. That is a gateway for me. So I will be opening up that browser in this Windows XP to access the internal things on this. Now let me check. It's been started now running. So when I am running this, I will be able to see this, this page. So this is the page I will be getting it. Welcome to web server through DMZ access server. Destination NAT built on Juniper VSRX firewall. I'll be getting this. Let me go to this Windows XP, and I'll be starting this internet. So let me go to this one, like private window. 192.168.1.125. I'm getting it. Welcome to web server through DMZ server. Destination NAT built on Juniper SRX firewall. Now actually the packet is transferring like this. Let me make it as like. So this is the Windows XP PC. This XP PC is .175, 192.168.1.75. Is having the gateway of .125. That is nothing but the Juniper SRX firewall outside interface. That's a 125 is an IP. Inside, this is an inside interface. Here the web server is sitting. There's a CentOS web server. This web server is having the IP of 10.0.10.155. When he is trying to access this, means this Windows XP is trying to access this, he's typing the address of 125 only. Means outside interface only he is accessing. So when it is the packet is hitting this firewall is doing it, the policies of the security policy as well as the NAT policy has been configured already. It is translating this as destination NAT. Then it is this 155 will be translated to 125 and the content is been given to me. That's why we are seeing this things which are coming properly on this. So it's a very simple practice. I have just given this, let me clear this, then only I can show my screen. So this is the policy. Let's see. 125 is the address. He is trying to type it. Actually, he is accessing the 10.0.10.155. And this is for like NATing, and this is for security policy allowing, then permit. So he is permitting. Source address can be any. He can come from any thing, but he should be from the outside interface. Then like destination address is a web server, and service is HTTP. That's all. So we can even monitor this. If you wanted to monitor that, try this. Oh, I came out of this. Sorry. So I can monitor this if I want to monitor and monitor traffic interface G000 then 0. Monitor traffic. Monitor traffic, you can say interface. Then I can just say G000.0. Device not complete. Sorry, 0.0. Now it will be coming up. So when I am accessing that, I should be able to get some kind of an output over here. Else we need to configure the traffic log like that. So let me show the traffic log. Show log. This is how I'll be getting logs. I can use this like, so this is coming from the 125. I try to ping it out from the 8888 which was going outside like this. So we can see many things, but it is completely of CLI based. It'll all be showing security rule, internet access. It'll be all showing that. RT flow sessions. You can configure the flow sessions from this. I can monitor the flow session by monitoring like this. It's possible. So this is our end of our small demonstration on SRX firewall. So guys, if you have any questions, you can ask me. We can see many labs as this. It's very easy. We can configure that. But I would like to tell you that we will be doing more of the practice on a CLI only. So you can ask me any questions. I've actually completed from my side. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Else we will be going ahead and close this meeting. Before that, I would like to have your email addresses. You can give your email addresses over here so that I can send you this PPT as well as the recording to you people. In the chat box, you can type it out. I'll send you this immediately in half an hour. I'll give you this all information to you. Please give me your email address, no problems. Durga Prasad is the, Harish is the, Krishan Rao is the, I can give it, no problems. Hello, people are there. I got Prasad has given that. Other people also can give it, no issues. Harish and Krishan Rao and other peoples as well. UK Rao 70. Okay, nice. What about Harish? Yes, Krishan Rao, thank you. Prasad has given, thank you. Okay, then if you don't have any questions in your mind, we can go ahead and close this meeting. So I will be sending you this and I'll be putting it on my YouTube channel. You can watch my YouTube channel for all the latest updates. You can subscribe to my channel and you can, inform your friends and colleagues and the relatives to see my channel for more technological topics. And every week I'll be giving you a certain demonstration on Sundays mornings. You can join anytime. Okay. Okay, then thanks for joining today. I'll be closing this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks all. Bye.